Good afternoon, welcome to our Midday Mull for Monday the 12th of October. Continuing our reflections on Ezekiel, and we've seen how Ezekiel moved from judgment to words of hope that Israel would be restored. And in chapter 43 he has the following vision. Then the man brought me to the gate facing east, and I saw the glory of the God of Israel coming from the east. His voice was like the roar of rushing waters, and the land was radiant with his glory. What a vision of God, this glorious God, radiant. And he says, the vision I saw was like the vision I had seen when he came to destroy the city, and like the visions I had seen by the Kibar River. And I fell face down. The glory of the Lord entered the temple through the gate facing east. Then the Spirit lifted me up and brought me into the inner court, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple. And so it's clear to Ezekiel that this vision of God entering the temple, this was the God that a little while earlier had left the temple in judgment on the city and the nation. And it is the same God that before that he'd seen with the exiles by the Kibar River. So for him, this was the same God. This wasn't different gods in different places. And that's just reaffirmed for him that this God of Israel, Yahweh, was the God that was doing this. And it struck me, firstly, that just this glory of God coming back into his temple, this word of hope. But at the same time, if we go back to chapter 40, he says this is the 25th year of the exile. And in chapter 1, the first vision he saw, as the visions began, he says it was the 5th year of the exile. And so for the first vision of condemnation was 20 years before the vision of hope. And 20 years is a long time. And I just struck by the patience that we need to have, that God will work things out in his time. And even after the second vision, it was another 45 years before that began to be fulfilled. And I get impatient when God hasn't done what he said he's going to do by Tuesday, and I give up by Thursday. And yet God says, no, we need to hang on to it. And so we need to remember that if today is as bad as yesterday, and possibly worse than the day before that, it's not because God has lost the plot or isn't going to bless us as he said. It isn't that God has abandoned us. It's just that his timing isn't ours. And we hang on to that and say, Lord, work out your glory, work out your promises in your time in my life. And so my prayer is that we will know God working in us, and that we will have his gift of patience, that we will wait for him, knowing that he is true to his word. What he has promised, he will fulfill. When he has said that he will bless us, that is exactly what he will do. We just need to wait on him, and trust, and keep trusting that he will do it. So know that God is there. Irrespective of what we feel, know that God's word is true. He has never gone against his word. Know that when he has promised blessing, ultimately that is what we will have. And we just pray for patience in the meanwhile. Know that, be blessed, and be patient.